What's up everybody, this video is a movie review of the Kraven the Hunter film. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, I would recommend seeing the film first and then watching this video. Okay, so now I've got the spoiler warning out of the way, let's talk about Kraven the Hunter. So, Kraven the Hunter is the latest Sony Spider-Man film, and it's going to be the last one for a while, they've said, in terms of live action. There's been a lot recently in the air about Sony allegedly thinking about selling the rights of Spider-Man back to Marvel, which would obviously mean Marvel would have a lot more characters to use in the future of the MCU, and they wouldn't have to worry about working with Sony and all that shit, and also they wouldn't have to do a whole thing of, well, we've made this film with Spider-Man in, now we have to wait for Sony to do this film about any Spider-Man character. It also lengthens the amounts of characters that they can use in the MCU, because at the moment they don't do any spin-off Spider-Man things, they only give us Spider-Man movies and a show in the MCU. So when we see a Spider-Man villain in the MCU, it's only because it's in a Spider-Man project. Now, I know for What If Season 3, when that officially releases, one of the episodes is going to be about Mysterio, so, or at least has a scene with him in, so whether Spider-Man's in that movie, I don't know. But that might be why they're allowed to use Mysterio, or they might have said with Marvel that or Sony, that they want to use a Spider-Man character which isn't Spider-Man, which would be an interesting one, and the people have wanted there to be an MCU sort of crossover at least, or have a Venom in the MCU. And out of all the Spider-Man sort of villains we've seen, Venom is one of like highly anticipated Spider-Man characters that Marvel Marvel fans want to see in the MCU. It is Venom, and at the moment, because Sony own the rights to Spider-Man and his characters, they've got to agree with Marvel to say, yeah, you can have a Venom in your MCU. But yeah, it was made. There's apparently they're thinking of selling the rights of Spider-Man back to Marvel, which does, like I say, mean a lot for Marvel, because not only will they be able to use Spider-Man himself more freely, but they've also got the rights to any Spider-Man character. So villain, hero, sidekick, love interest, no matter what. Which also means they can use them in non-Spider-Man projects if they want to change it up from the comics, and say, for instance, they want to introduce Mary Jane, or not Mary, they've kind of got an MJ, but say they want to introduce Selena Kyle, Black Cat. They could, but then say, instead of being a love interest of Spider-Man, and instead of becoming Black Cat, we're just going to make them a love interest for Bucky Barnes, and that's changing from the comics. But also it means they can do a lot more with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has been in other comics with other characters like Deadpool, and that would be a big sort of cash grab for them if they do it right, would be a Deadpool and Spider-Man movie. But it's a lot harder for them to do when Sony own the rights, because Marvel would have to code to Sony, and they've got to make an agreement with them for the movie, because Sony will be making the movie. Which is why there's not really a lot of Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus. Or even, like, I know there's a lot of shows, surprisingly, but in terms of the Tom Holland movies, I think there's only like Far From Home or Homecoming, or one or two of them. Like, they haven't got. No, I know No Way Home isn't on there. Yeah, I don't even know what's happened, because I know they put Venom on, and I think they might have put Andrew on, but then they weren't supposed to do that, so they had to take it off. But it also means, because of that, they can't stream those movies on their platform, which, because they're all Spider-Man related movies, that there's people who might want to see them, but also there's a lot of Spider-Man content that they could be having on Disney Plus. You've got 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey, 2 with Andrew, and then obviously you got the 2 Spider-Verse films, which is set to get a third, which apparently has been delayed now. But yeah, that's just for Spider-Man, actual Spider-Man films with Spider-Man in, plus you've got the other films like Madam Web, the Venom franchise, Morbius, and now Kraven, for those who might want to watch it. I mean, in my personal opinion with Morbius, I know it's not the best movie, and I did see it in the cinema. I prefer watching it at home than in the cinema. It's one of those movies which should have, or in my opinion, should have gone straight to DVD and digital. But there we go. Sony have been sort of holding back on the live action films, and we've got 2 this year, which were Venom and Kraven, and it did seem a bit suspicious because at first, like with Venom, they said this is going to be the end to the Venom franchise with Tom Hardy. We're not bringing him back in his own movie. And they said they wanted to do another Venom film, but it would be an animated Venom film, and it would also be an R rating still. It's like, it's interesting because out of all the live action movies they've done, the most recent ones, the ones which have met the most money have been the Venom. Like, in terms of the Sony Spider-Man universe itself, the big money makers were the Spider-Verse films and the Venom films. Yeah. So that seemed a bit odd. Then there was not really any information on this animated one, which I think it's supposed to be directed by Seth Rogen, but who obviously voices Pumbaa in the live action Lion King and reprised his role as Pumbaa in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers Disney Plus film, and it's obviously going to be a new Mufasa film. But to me, it just felt a bit odd how they're not wanting to do any more with Tom Hardy, because in my opinion they could still do a Tom Hardy Venom and an animated Venom, because they would be different, and you could have been called the animated Venom something different to establish the difference between it. But I definitely thought it was odd. And then there's been no news of it, and then since Kraven released, they were saying, yeah, this is going to be the last one of our Spider-Man's Sony Spider-Man universe, which is all from the live action things. And yeah, and it'll be I mean, they said for a while, it is allegedly that they're going to stop for a while, and now they've had the thing of selling the rights to Marvel. It is interesting. So realistically, I don't think we'll hear any more of that side of things until the 3rd Spider-Verse film has released, because then they might decide to say, yeah, we're not carrying on at all and all that. But I could be wrong, we could hear something before. So with that in mind, that was Kraven was the last movie for the Spider-Man universe. The Sony Spider-Man universe of the live action side for at least a while. And I'm going to say this, I did like it. I do think it's overhated, to be honest. And I really enjoyed it. Obviously, yet again, another Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man in. And I've sort of recently learned that they could have always used Tom Holland's Spider-Man in any of their movies. And just because he's the MCU Spider-Man didn't mean they couldn't use him. If they wanted, they could have put the MCU Spider-Man in Kraven, for example. Which is interesting. But also, if they could use him, it was never specified that it had to be his version, his Spider-Man as well. So, for example, for the MCU. So, for example, They could have always used Tom Holland, so they could have either brought the MCU Spider-Man into one of these films and taken him out and put him back in the MCU, or they could have set this movie in the MCU and said, yeah, this is going to be an MCU movie, we're going to put Spider-Man in it, Tom Holland, boom. But also, they could have brought Tom Holland on play as Spider-Man, but not not the MCU Spider-Man as a different Spider-Man entirely, which I feel that would have been a better option, because I think the last time we've seen a proper Spider-Man sort of outside of the MCU has been Andrew Garfield, and that was back in 2012, and now he's part of the MCU, and it's Madam Web is the closest thing we've got, which is like these weird, they are technically Spider-Man variants, but they just, I don't think they've been portrayed well. I haven't seen the film yet. I'm not dreading it. I think I might enjoy it, but one of these things that, it's not the best, which is fair enough. In terms of Kraven, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I thought Aaron Taylor-Johnson was amazing at the role, and the chameleon at the end, they made turned his brother into the chameleon, which was very interesting. And to be honest, by the end, it didn't have, because it was the end of the Sony universe for a while, it didn't have a post-credit scene. However, I could tell they wanted a post-credit scene originally, in terms of the ending. To me, the ending, it was interesting because it ended, and then there was another scene which seemed like it out of place straight on the end. Now, what this was, and that was actually the scene revealing that his brother is actually the chameleon. So I was like, okay, interesting. So what I believe they'd already done is, before they'd made the decision to say, this is going to be our last Sony Spider-Man universe film for a while at least, I feel they'd done that. Not straight away. They didn't make that decision straight away. So, they'd actually filmed the post-credit scene before they decided that. So, but they didn't want to get rid of the footage or use it as a bonus scene. They thought, we're still going to put it in the movie, we'll just put it on the end of the, put it in after the end, and that's why it didn't fit well. It was still a good scene, but it didn't fit well, because it's like, the movie's now about to end. Wait, what? There's another scene. Oh, now it's ended. I feel that was at least either a mid-credit scene or a post-credit scene. I don't think they were going to have 2 credits. I think it was only going to be like a mid-credit or a post-credit scene, and that was going to be it. But yeah, and it mainly because it didn't fit well, because it felt like it was added on out of nowhere, but also the way they revealed him as chameleon at the end of the movie, it's like, well, why didn't you reveal it earlier on? But no, I mean, Rhino, people are saying that, I mean, I know 3C Films in particular, he said that he felt the Rhino in TASM 2 was actually better than this one. And, I mean, that's his opinion, and honestly speaking, I think this was a better Rhino than Paul Giamatti's. I've got no offence towards Paul Giamatti. I just think the Rhino's been better as a physical Rhino than a mechanical suit. And I really enjoyed what we were given through Sony with this one. So I would like to say that I actually preferred the Rhino in Kraven the Hunter more than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I don't have any complaints about the movie. The only complaint I have really is that it seems to be the last one for a while, but they're still teasing some stuff like a Sinister Six movie. But, I mean, it was a good film, and I enjoyed it. And I actually, I feel it's overhated, but that is my opinion. That is my personal opinion. I would see it again. And yeah, so my overall review of Kraven the Hunter from 2020, from this year, I nearly said 2023, I don't know why. It has been long waiting for it, because it was supposed to release last year, October, then it got pushed to, I think, about Jan or Feb of this year, and then it got pushed to August, then it got pushed to October, then it got pushed to December, and it finally released in December of this year. And there were speaks about them delaying it again, and I think they have in other countries. I don't know why, but yeah, I liked it, and for that I am gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. I'm not, there's no for me. I don't find any improvements. Maybe that post-credit scene could have not been added and put on as a bonus or something, or still as a post-credit scene, but I don't know. I don't have criticism of what they've done. It's just the fact that it's not a perfect movie, but it was a really enjoyable movie for me, and I really enjoyed it, and that is why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So, yeah. Now, my next video I'm going to be movie review is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog from 2020, because as of recording this video, which is the 20th of December 2024, tomorrow I'm going to go see Sonic 3. So I'm needing to get my Sonic 1 and 2 movies watched and reviewed for you guys. So today I'm releasing 2 videos, the Kraven and the Sonic review. Then tomorrow I'll probably do another 2 videos of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, because I'm going to watch Sonic 2 tonight, but by the time I finish it up, I don't think I'll have enough time to video it tonight. If I do, you might see another one pop up tonight, but that is an uncertain one. Just know there's going to be 2 releasing today, for definite, potentially a third depending on the time I get. But just to recap, Kraven the Hunter, for me personally, I feel it's an 8 out of 10 movie. So there's my review, 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye. Bye.